morning, you're watching Northern Student TV. Filling in for Josie Terry, I'm Alyssa Mess. Sports with CJ opens our show tonight and gives us a look at all things Beaver sports.
For NSTV Sports, I'm CJ Baumgartner, and I'm sitting outside here of Chet Anderson Stadium here on this snowy afternoon here in Bemidji. It's going to be pretty busy this weekend. BSU is going to host NCAA tournament games for the first time in program history. Augustana and Central Missouri are going to be playing at 11 a.m. on Friday. And the big game, that'll be starting at 2 o'clock here at the Chet. BSU will take on Minot State in a Beaver Bowl of sorts that's talked about with any sport. Obviously, playing Minot State, a conference opponent in the first round of the NCAA tournament, will be a kind of interesting game because the teams have played each other over the course of the season. BSU, of course, won in Minot 3-0 earlier in the season. And both games, obviously, as we said, are going to be at Bemidji. And if BSU and the winner of the game will play on Sunday, it'll be a busy weekend at the Chet this weekend. Obviously, the women's soccer NCAA tournament games are going to be going on Friday, but on Saturday, the BSU football team is going to hope to end their season on a high note against MSU. They played MSU Moorhead last weekend, but they have their final game of the regular season against Minot State in a Beaver Bowl of the football kind this time. And last week against MSU Moorhead, to get to that game, BSU did fall 31-26. They had a late comeback attempt after scoring a touchdown. They got the onside kick, but unfortunately, Alec Ogden on the very next play fumbled the ball. MSU Moorhead got the ball, ran out the clock, and not only did they win the game, they took over second place in the North Division of the NSIC above Bemidji and also knocked the Beavers out of bowl game contention. So, against Minot State in their final game of the season, they're going to have to hope on Senior Day to end the season on a high note and, of course, win the Beaver Bowl. It was an interesting season for BSU. Injuries have decimated. Decimated their season. They had a very promising 5-1 start and then finished going 1-3 in their final 4 games, obviously hoping to have a win here on Saturday to kind of end the season going off on a high note. And then on Sunday, the madness continues here at the Chet as more women's soccer will be going on Sunday. There's going to be the winner of both games on Friday. They will play here at the Chet on Sunday. And we could even see a potential rematch of last season's NCAA tournament game against Augustana. BSU and Augustana could match up on Sunday. Augustana, we've talked about it before, they might be BSU's kryptonite of sorts. They were the one tie this season. The one game BSU did not win was against Augustana. BSU's only losses the season before also came to Augustana. So the opportunity for a rematch could be huge for the Beavers, and it's good to have it home here at the Chet. For NSTV Sports, I'm CJ Baumgartner, and we'll kick it back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you, CJ. Jumping into what's happening on campus this week, we go to Tiffany Harris for BSU Weekly. Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of What's Happening at BSU. I'm your host, Tiffany Harris, and I'm here to inform you of weekly events at BSU and to connect you with on-campus clubs and organizations to help you get more involved. I hope everyone enjoyed their long weekend. If you went home, traveled somewhere new, or just stayed in Bemidji, I hope it was great. But now let's get to this week's events on campus. Starting us off this week, the Geography Club is hosting a series of events and an exciting lineup of speakers throughout the week to celebrate National Geographic Week. Some classes may even be eligible to earn extra credit with some of these events, so be sure to check with your professors. The newest addition to the events this year is a map contest, so be sure to check it out. On Tuesday the 13th, Newman Catholic Ministries is hosting their weekly Mass and a Meal at St. Philip's Catholic Church on 702 Beltrami Avenue Northwest at 6:30. Stop by for Mass and a delicious homemade meal. All are welcome to attend. Also on Tuesday the 13th, the women's basketball team is playing against Mayville State University at 6 o'clock at the Gillette Wellness Center. Come out and cheer them on. On Wednesday the 14th, the Mental Health Advisory Board is holding their monthly meeting in the Leadership Center in Hobson Memorial Union at 5 p.m. All are welcome to attend. On Friday the 16th at 1 o'clock, the Student Center for Health and Counseling is having their weekly Feel Better Fast Stress Management Workshop. Come by and learn some skills in dealing with stress and coping. This is free to all BSU and NTC students, and no appointment is necessary. And now for weekend sports. As usual, we'll start with all of the away games first. On Friday the 16th, the women's hockey team is playing at the University of Wisconsin, time to be announced. Also on Friday, the men's hockey team will be playing at St. Cloud University at 7 o'clock. Then on Saturday, the women's hockey team will be playing another game against the University of Wisconsin, time to be announced. And the cross-country team will be participating in the NCAA Central Regional Championship in Joplin, Missouri, times to be announced. Lastly, the men's hockey team will be playing another game at St. Cloud University at 6 p.m. And for those of you staying in Bemidji this weekend, the only home game happening is the men's basketball team as they face off against Northland College in the Gillette Wellness Center at 4 p.m. Be sure to come out and show your support. Lastly, on Sunday the 18th, the Social Work Club is hosting a Zumba session in the dance studio in the Gillette Wellness Center. Grab a friend and practice some self-care. Everyone is welcome to come, and refreshments will be provided afterwards. And now for our next segment, I'm happy to introduce this week's guest on what's happening at BSU. With me today is Curtis Wasnick, a junior here at BSU studying business, as well as he's the president of the Human Resource Club. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Good to be here.
Let's start off by having you tell us a little bit about the Human Resources Club.
Well, it's pretty self-explanatory. We're mostly business majors who have expressed some interest in human resources and are pretty much just trying to see if anybody else kind of wants to get into that position, just raise awareness for it. It's really just a fun time all around.
Nice. And do you guys host any events or do anything special throughout the year?
Yeah, actually, just the other week, we actually brought in some recent alumni to speak to some students over in Memorial. I know we're probably going to do that again in the spring coming up, so look out for that one.
Very nice. And is this just for business majors, or is this open to
Oh, no,
anyone?
yeah, anybody at all. If you're wanting to, we're always recruiting, so just shoot me an email or drop over on Beaver link.
Nice. And when and where are your meetings held?
We don't really do too much in the way of actual meetings. We have some officer meetings usually once a month but other than that, the actual commitment for most members is pretty light. I mean, we do some volunteering stuff at like Sanford that you might be interested in, but other than that, not really much in the way of actual meetings.
Gotcha. And you're the president of
Yes.
the club. So what made you want to join the Human Resources Club?
Well, it looks really good on a resume. I'm just saying, looks really good. People really look at that sort of club stuff, Also just gives you a free SHRM membership. That's Society of Human Resources Management. Basically helps you with networking, trying to find jobs in the human resources field. So normally that's like $120 about, so that's good savings for me as an officer to it. But if you're just a normal member, you can get that too if you just attend some of our volunteering events.
Very nice. Well, thank you so much for sharing more about the Human Resources Club with us today.
Well, thank you for having me.
And if you have any more, or if you're interested in joining the club, like he said, shoot them an email or check them out on BeaverLink. Well, that concludes this week's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Tiffany, and I'll see you next week on What's Happening at BSU. The polls are busier than normal for an off-year election this week as people came out to vote. Jacob Israel gives us a results recap on the 2018 midterm election.
This is Jacob Israel with Northern Student TV. It is election night all across the country and right here in Minnesota.
One of the most critical state elections this year was the election for State House Seat 5A, which is the seat which houses Bemidji State University.
First off, one of my first committees that I'm going to request this time around is the Higher Ed Committee. And the Minnesota State Central offices are really siphoning a lot of the money that are meant for the students and the education of the students. As I've said before, that the cost of administration in college has far outpaced the cost of living. So I'd like to see that brought down a little bit. You know, the Min State has occupied some of the most expensive real estate in St. Paul. We don't need them to be in there. They don't need to have as many people down there. We can maybe farm some of that out to the local colleges.
With the race expected to be close, everyone has a plan for if they win.
Increasing the subsidy for university students. That's on my radar, has been for a long time. We've been working on it. We've made some progress. Certainly making college affordable.
The race for Minnesota State House District 5A is very, very close, and it almost certainly will be ending in a recount. As things stand, as we're recording this, we'll keep you updated if the numbers change. But as of recording this segment, DFL nominee John Purcell has 8,452 votes, and Republican Matt Bliss has 8,444 votes. That means John Purcell is currently ahead by 8 votes. There were also 7 votes cast as a write-in. This is a very close election, and we will keep you updated. Bemidji Mayor Rita Albright won another term leading the city, defeating Joe Venny 58-41.
Well, I'll continue to support the university as I always have through scholarships and Beaver Pride and engaging students in discussions about how to make Bemidji better.
In the governor's race, DFL nominee Tim Walz and his running mate Peggy Flanagan were elected governor and lieutenant governor respectively, defeating Jeff Johnson and Donna Bergstrom 54-42.
Well, that's all we have time for today, folks, so we will see you next Friday. I'm Alyssa Mess, and you've been watching Northern Student TV.